In this example, we will say adding a shape twin. But so far, remember, when we add a shape twin, there is little control we have over how the shape should change, right? When the circle was going to polygon, it was just doing randomly the way Flash wants to do it. There's nothing we can control in how the shape should actually change. But there's a technique in Flash called shape hint, where we can actually connect the point from the first keyframe to the point at the last keyframe. So the animation will happen in a controlled way. Now to do that, let me take an example of text. For example, I have a text tool. Using text tool, literally on the stage, I click once. Let's say I have number 1. Okay. Now for symbols or for the text, if you want to apply shape twin, it will not work straight away, because right now the text itself is a one full object. Okay. If I try and select, do you get dotted lines over it? You don't. It means it's not a shape. It's an object right now, which is controlled by the fonts and everything. Now, if you want to apply shape twin techniques to the text, you have to convert this text into a shape, into a Flash pixels. Okay. To do that, all you do is you select your text on the stage in Flash and modify it using modify properties. And under the modify menu, there is a break apart. Can you see that? Control B. This break apart, when you select once, you will see what it does. It breaks your text into a dotted pixels. It means literally the text is no more a text. I can't change its font. I can't change the text to some other numbers, right? Because we have breaked it into the Flash pixels. Okay. If it's a single letter, you press break apart only once. The single letter will be your shape. Okay. But if it's a word, for example, if I have just letters, a word, ELAT, let's say. So as it is selected, and if I'll go to modify break apart, because it's a word, first break apart will break your entire word into individual letters. Okay, so now each E, L, A, double T, they all are separate now. You can do whatever you want. But if you want to break them to Flash pixels, you do modify break apart one more time. Okay, so when you want to convert the whole word into a shape, press break apart twice. But if it's just a single letter, you just press it once, so that the shape, the text becomes the Flash shapes. Okay, it's quite important to know for different examples. Now, once we have these shapes, we can use our technique of shape twin. For example, here I've got this text. Let me get my rulers on so I know exact my positions of the contents. Right. That's my number 1 shape on first keyframe. If I'll go to frame number 30, let me insert a keyframe here. At this keyframe, we will change this number 1 to number 2. We want to show it is transforming from 1 to 2, not just changing by a flicker. So to do that, let me select number 1 on frame number 30, delete that, so the keyframe becomes blank. And at that keyframe, let's take a text tool, click on the stage, type number 2 there, keep it there. That's the position of number 1, so I'm just keeping it around number 1. Next step, convert this text into a shape as well. So I will just use modify break apart. And that's it. Now you can see on the stage, number 1 keyframe is actually number 1 text, but in terms of shape. Okay. Frame number 30 is a keyframe which is holding number 2, which is also converted into a shape. Right. Once we have these 2 on each other ends, you go in between anywhere and right click and add create shape twin. Okay. Now when you add that, you will see that timeline will automatically change 1 into 2. See that? When I test my movie, this is how it does. Changing a shape. For us, it looks like a number who's changing from 1 to 2. But it is actually a changing of shape because we break it apart. Okay. Now these techniques we can use from changing circle to 1, changing a rectangle into elat. You can do all of this kind of magical things. All important Flash needs is some shape at number 1 and some shape at the other end. Okay. In between, Flash will do rest of the job for you. It is shape twin, yes. Motion twin don't do that all. But here, the next thing I want to show you is adding a shape hint. What shape hint does is, for example, number 1, keep observing how many tips or edges number 1 has. How many edges are there? Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, literally if you count point to point, then there are 6. If you just count serif or sans serif, if you just see, there's little 1, this second edge corner, and this is third. Or you can go point by point as well. How many number 2 has it? More or less same. We can have 1 point there, 1 here, 1 there. 1 is a round curve, but if you want to do that as well, we can count on that. So let's say what I want to do now, as per the example, is these are the 3 points of number 2, and these are the 3 points, which is number 1, 2, and these are the 3 points of number 1. We can actually connect these hooks with each other. Okay, means if I have number 1 here, and these are the 3 points of number 2, I can connect this point of number 1 with that edge. I can connect that point of number 1 with this edge, and this, that means shape will transform and try and connect these 3 points with each other. Okay, and that's how your illusion will change. Now to practically do this, we have to add a shape hint. So what I'm going to do is, you go back to your timeline at number 1. Okay, we go to modify, and there's a shape menu under modify, and under the shape menu there's a add shape hint. The shortcut for that is Control Shift H. ACA exam asks about shape hints, so make sure you know it and how it works. Right, as long as you have a shape in your timeline and you have a shape hint selected, click on it, and you can see on the stage there's a circle with a red color in it, and it has a little alphabet called A. It looks like that. This is what you see here. Now that is number 1 shape hint. If you press that shape hint again, it will keep giving you A, B, C, D, as many shape hints you want to add. Okay, there's no limit how many hints you can add. Okay. For example, we need 3 hints. So I'm just going to go back, and let me leave my A by dragging it out. Modify, shape, add a shape hint. It gives me B, another shape hint. Modify shape, shape hint, and I got C. So literally I've got 3 shape hints now, A, B, and C. If I move my timeline to the last keyframe, do you get your shape hints there as well? They're at the same position, but you can literally move your cursor on it and drag them separate. You don't have to add shape hints again for your last keyframe. If you add them once, they will appear automatically for the last keyframe. Now all you have to do is you have to go to those keyframes and adjust where you want to keep those hooks or to those points. So as we decided, I will go back to number 1 and keep my A there, B in the top corner here, C at this edge in the middle. If I go back here, I want to keep my A there, B here in the corner, and C there. Or B, sorry, we can keep B here. Now if I check it, do you see more control animation? Your A Look at this B, right? Changing from 1 is staying here only. But at number 2, let's say this B, I want to change it to this point. Hardly any difference. Let's change it totally drastically. Let me keep my A. Shape hints. That's number 1. I think there's not much difference in the fonts. That's why you can't see the differences here. But if you have, yeah, 1 to 2, you will not see hardly difference in here. But we can try 2 to 3. Let me just try number 2. Another keyframe. Delete that. Let's add number 3 here. Break apart. Shape tween. That's 1 changing to 2, and from 2 it is changing to 3. Okay. Number 2, let me add a shape hints here. One. Come on. No, let me just stop this recording for a while.